60 years old, my only regret isn't the mistakes I made, it's the guidance I never had as a young man. If you're sitting there right now feeling a bit lost, feeling like the world is moving too fast and you're falling behind, or maybe you're worrying because you haven't figured things out yet, or maybe you're just confused and unsure about what this masculinity gig is. You're a young man between, say, 16 and 30. As I said, I'm 60 now. I know it sounds pretty ancient.
You're so old.
But when I was 18, 21, whatever, I didn't have someone in my corner to give me guidance. My father didn't give me any guidance. No uncle, no elder, no clear roadmap for how to navigate the weight of becoming a man and moving into manhood. I had to stumble through the dark without a flashlight. I made some painful mistakes and had to figure it all out pretty much on my own. Now, I can't go back and give that guidance to my younger self, but I can give it to you. Think of this space as a place for you to bring the heavy questions, the issues that are important to you, maybe the things that you can't talk to your mates about or to your family about. And together we'll unpack them, we'll break them down. There's no judgment, there's no lectures, there's no shaming or blaming, because I've been where you are too. Just honest, practical advice and guidance from someone who's walked the road ahead of you. I'm going to share stuff with you that I wish someone older and definitely more experienced had shared with me when I was a young man who had questions. And there was nobody there to answer them. So this channel is called the Manhood Map. So let's help people develop a new map so they can move forward.
Okay, I can't find it on this map.
Well, get yourself a new map.
I'm going to be reading questions on real life issues that young men have and answer them with practical advice and guidance. So make yourself comfortable if you haven't already. Strap yourself in. Let's look at the first question. So let's read Sam's letter. I'm 23. I'm working a retail job that drains me and I'm not enjoying it. I'm living back in my parents' spare room, which used to be my bedroom. All my old high school friends are posting about promotions at work, getting engaged, and one of them is actually talking about buying a home. I wake up every morning feeling this pit in my stomach, like I've already lost a race I didn't even know I was running. Okay, he's quite a very eloquent writer, isn't he? How do I start building a real life when I feel 5 years behind everybody else? In short, how do I find a purpose for my life? That's a great question. And very similar questions have been posted across forums like Reddit, like Quora, and other social media platforms. Very similar questions that young people are asking, young men are asking. How do I find a purpose for my life? First thing is, if I could go back to my younger self and give them one piece of advice, here is what it would be. You do not have to have everything figured out. You don't. Because people much older than you still haven't got their life figured out either. It looks like they're all adulting, but underneath the surface, it's like a duck. They look calm on the surface, but underneath they're paddling furiously. Well, a lot of people look like that. Okay, lots of them, they look like they're adulting, but they're not. They haven't got stuff figured out still. Some people get to the age of like 40 and they find out the job they've been doing all their life was not aligned with their values. It wasn't aligned with who they were as a person. So now they've got to figure it out all over again. But when you're young, people put pressure on you to have things figured out. They say, oh, you've got to start thinking about what you're going to do with your life. You've got to start thinking what you're going to do uni, college, do an apprenticeship, go and get a job, whatever you're going to do. They put pressure on you to do that. Okay, there is pressure. They want the best for you. They want you to start thinking about that, but they don't realize the pressure that it causes people. Because when you're young and you don't have a lot of life experience, how can you always know what you want to do? Now, some people do. There was a guy in my class when I was at school. He said he wanted to join the Air Force and he was going to become a pilot. And that's what he did. There was another girl who said she wanted to be a nurse, and she left school and she became a nurse. Now, granted, there's always some people in your social circle or people that you know who seem to know what they want to do. I agree, they do. But that is not the vast majority of people. We know that 70% of people in research do not like their jobs very much. So that's like 70% of the adult population haven't really figured things out. So don't think that you have to, because you're a young person. Do not think you have to have things figured out. You don't. Sometimes your life purpose unfolds in a natural and organic way. And sometimes something comes along that you feel passionate about or you feel angry about, and you think, well, that's made me angry. I want to do something about that, or I didn't realize how much I enjoyed that, how passionate I feel about that. So you want to go off in a direction down there. But one of the things, okay, that you also mustn't do is don't compare yourself to other people. You see, you think other people have got things figured out, but you're comparing yourself to them. They might look like they are on social media, okay, but that's the tip of a very large iceberg that's underneath the sea. What's the rest of the iceberg under the sea looking like? They might be paddling furiously like that duck, okay? They are good at looking as if they have got it all together, and possibly a few of them have. But let me tell you, most of them, it's just an image.
We pretended.
It's true. It's just an image. It's like a facade. Social media isn't all real. A lot of it is fantasy. We know that. We know that. We live in the real world and we know what reality is and we know what unreality is. And it's not always real. You must never compare yourself to others. The only comparisons you can make is what were you like 3 months ago? Compare yourself to yourself 3 months ago. Have you advanced? Have you moved forward? That's the only comparison you make. What was I like 3 months ago? Have I come any further in my own development since then? Okay? Second thing nobody ever tells you about purpose or finding a life direction. It's incredibly helpful and useful if you get to know yourself better first. Knowledge of the self. What sort of person am I? What is my personality? What is my temperament? What are my values? Values being things that are important to you. Okay? Let's talk about personality first. There's a personality assessment called Myers-Briggs. I'll put it down in the description. It should be on screen. Myers-Briggs assessment. It puts your personality into broadly 4 quadrants. Now, I know that sounds a bit broad, but all you need at the moment is a broad sort of over sort of picture of your overlook of your personality. You don't need to go really specific at the moment, okay? So get a broad overview, that was the word I was looking for. So you need a broad overview of your personality, okay? Jungian psychology, Myers-Briggs type inventory. I suggest you do that. It's very cheap on the web. You can do it on the web. I've seen it done for $10 somewhere. So do the Myers-Briggs type inventory. Get to know yourself better. Find out what your temperament is like. There's roughly 7 different temperaments. Look for the 7 temperament test. You don't want to go, in a life direction that's not suited to your personality. It's not suited to who you are. That's what a lot of people do, and they get it all wrong. Next thing, look at your values. Values are things that are important to you. Let me give you the hamburger bar metaphor. A lot of people, when they're young, work in a fast food joint. Okay, so it's a good metaphor. I did so myself. So, let's imagine someone's working in a fast food joint. They're putting this hamburger together and they're thinking to themselves, wow, Sally's making the fries, Mike's flipping the burger over there, I'm putting the vegetables and salad in. Isn't it fantastic how we all work together to get this hamburger for the customer? So they're telling themselves something. They like teamwork. Teamwork is important to them. That's a value. Anything that's important to you is what we call a value, okay? Now, somebody else is doing this hamburger. They're thinking to themselves, why is Sally taking so long frying those fries. I could have done it quicker myself. And why is that guy not flipping the burgers yet? Oh God, I could have done this quicker and better myself. So that person doesn't value teamwork. They're telling themselves, I value independence. I think I could have done this better on my own. I prefer working on my own without these people messing things up for me. Somebody else is making this burger. They're putting this burger together. They're thinking, why does the customer have to have a standard burger? Why can't they have 4 burgers in a bun? Why can't they have half a bottle of ketchup and some pink lettuce? What are they telling you? They don't value teamwork. They don't value independence. They value creativity. All that is going through these people's heads, just putting a burger together. So sometimes going to do a job that you don't necessarily want can give you clues as to what your values are, what things are important to you. I mean, sometimes you have to try different things to take the best from that or to take the worst from that. So you know what to leave behind and you know what to take with you. Because sometimes your purpose or life direction takes a little while to develop, and that's okay. You don't have to have everything figured out straight away. Okay? So in another video, I'm going to show you a values exercise. I'm going to show you how to start thinking about your values and putting them together in a list of, say, 8 to 10. If you can get the top 5, that's really helpful, but also putting them in an order of importance. So your top value is the most important on top, second most important value, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, what we call a hierarchy of importance. Okay? Just doing that alone, finding out things that are important to you and in order of importance, will make you not go down that road because it doesn't align with your values. But I'll try this over here because at least that aligns with my 3 or 4 top values. And I might find something else when I go there. Okay? So knowledge of the self is a really, really important thing to develop, as I've said as well, because that will also have a double whammy of strengthening your sense of self and strengthening your sense of identity. Then you're in a place, when you know yourself, to make better decisions because the decisions are based on who you are. Okay? You won't get pulled in the wrong direction. Okay? Because you want a life direction to reveal itself that's based on who you are as a person. All right? So I'll see you next video. We'll do some sort of values exercise. I'll show you how to do that. If you want to ask me a question, nothing is off topic here. Nothing is out of bounds here. I'm going to start putting a Google form down below, and you can even put a question in anonymously. You don't have to give your real name. You don't have to appear on camera. You can ask an anonymous question that you can't ask other people. I will answer it for you. Okay? I will see you on the next video.